Let's now bring in Professor Nthatisi Khatleli from the School of Construction, Economics and Management at Wits University. Prof, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for your time. So the Minister essentially pointing out to those poor quality concrete and weak reinforced columns as preliminary causes. From your vantage point and from an engineering perspective, how critical are these failures in a multi-story, and are they sufficient just on their own to cause a total collapse, as we've seen, and of course a fatal one?
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm honored to be here. Yes, those failures are very serious. And I think we heard that the building did not get any approval. And so it means the engineers were not there for the necessary oversight. And so somebody must have cut corners. And indeed, weak concrete and inadequate design of reinforcement is always going to yield these results.
And just speak to us about those terminologies. I mean, when reinforced concrete fails, does it then usually indicate those material failures or even a design failure or even construction failure? Or is it a combination of all of those?
You see, the reinforcement is part of the column. It's like the skeleton of the columns. So that reinforcement has to be designed by a qualified engineer. Now, from what we have gathered, the building was originally designed to be 2 stories. And then you are adding 2 more floors. There's nothing wrong with that if the 2 floors were designed to carry or support the imposed loads of the extra 2 floors. So from what one can assess from a distance is that the 2 floors were standing because maybe the design was adequate for the first 2. Now, once we are adding the 2 more extra floors, then that would lead to this a failure. And the concrete might not have, the reinforcement might not have been adequate to support the extra loading as well. So these things should have been designed well ahead. Even if you are building the building in phases or stages, still the design should be adequate to support the extra imposed loading. And I don't think this was the case here.
I mean, we know that the country has, clear building standards under very processes and laws. In your experience, how common is it for an unapproved or informal erected building such as this one to bypass these standards? And I mean, what are the risks that are posed here, particularly when you look at dense communities and just where this particular building was located in KZN?
You have public clients and you have private clients as well. So with the public clients, normally you are required to adhere to the rules. Mistakes do happen. But with the private clients, you don't know if they knew the guy who called himself the engineer, who might not have been registered. You don't know their relationship with the contractor. You don't know if they were put in the contractor under pressure to maybe not produce the required standard of concrete. A lot still has to be investigated. So if the rules are not adhered, surely something is gonna give down the line. So whenever you are having anything above 2 floors, if the design is poor, then accidents are bound to happen. And what is worrying is that this is a public place. So even if people were planning to cut corners, this is a public place. You want to do things the right way, because if mistakes happen, even if they didn't happen during construction, but at a later stage, we could be talking, I don't know, the capacity of the building, maybe 200 people, that would be inside the building when it collapses. So that would have been catastrophic.
Yeah, and I mean, you refer to these multi-stakeholders, and the minister also, saying there during that press briefing that there has to be some form of accountability. So in a situation like this, where a building is erected, and when you look at the value chain of the construction industry, from client, contractor, engineer, and I would imagine some local authorities, where does the the primary responsibility lie here? Where are we going to see those heads roll, so to speak, and accountability taken here, because lives have been lost?
I think the responsibility cuts across everyone who is involved here. Yeah. The City Council has to vet all the construction that is going on. It is incumbent on you as the client to ensure that standards are adhered to. So it shows that the entire system maybe is outdated. We need to come up with new regulations that are going to inform the authorities in real time that there's a construction happening in such and such a place, and they should go there to check that the standards have been adhered to, or whether the necessary permits have been sought. So, because if you don't do that, people are going to take advantage of the weak system and erect buildings. Some of the buildings we have seen, will just be, the construction activity will just be happening over weekends, even at night. So it means we really have to up our game in ensuring that every building that is taking place in and around our cities, is monitored by the authorities. We can't just leave it to the clients to do the right thing.
Absolutely, Prof. Thank you so much for your time. Let's leave it there for now. For this afternoon, Associate Professor Nthatisi Khatleli of the School of Construction, Economics and Management at Wits University, just speaking to us there following those preliminary findings by Public Works and Infrastructure.